So here's the thing, there's a ton of negative sentiment out there on the market right now, and I understand why, with tariffs and everything going on, why people are so fearful, but I just felt like I had to make this video today and talk about why a lot of people aren't bullish enough on the cryptocurrency market or wider markets in general. Right now, Bitcoin's already rallied 28% off the lows, which is great since the tariff scare back on the 7th of April. On top of that, if you have a look at this chart here, you can see these vertical red lines are Bitcoin tops. And down here at the bottom is the double bounce that we usually see when Bitcoin is ready to rip. And right now we've had our double bounce. We haven't had a red line put in a top here on this chart. And you might be thinking to yourself, oh, well, Bitcoin is up massively, it is massively outperforming this entire market right now, up well over its all-time high. How does that make any sense? How can we be so bearish? And the answer to that question is, if you have a look at the total market cap here, excluding Bitcoin, it really gives you a great understanding of where we are, and we're down a long way. We aren't up in new all-time highs here. The market's down 40%, and it's pretty rough out there. People are pretty bearish and sentiment's bad. But I just wanted to make this video today to shine a light on the positives and why I think we're actually much closer to the start of our next leg up. I think this is all a big consolidation, and I think this whole thing resembles the bottom of 2021, and we're likely to make our next leg up here very soon. So the first thing I want to have a look at is just news. The US and the Ukraine officially signed a minerals deal, which means that this war could be coming to an end. It could be closing up, which is going to create a lot of confidence in the markets, considering that the outcome of a nuclear apocalypse is essentially not going to be weighing over our heads anymore. So this is just one thing to take into account. Another thing I'm seeing right now, Trump and China coming to maybe make deals, close things out. The whole tariff scare, the whole thing that dumped the market down to these lows could be all just over. And that's all with these discussions. And for the people that say, oh, I don't know about these discussions, I don't really think this is going to mean anything, you can come over here to ChatGPT and ask it, how does Trump negotiate the art of the deal, which is his book. And it'll tell you. He comes in with a bold high offer. He allows himself to anchor the discussion in his favor, and then he makes concessions if necessary. And that's exactly what's going on with this whole situation here. And he literally talks about it in his book, and now he's just doing it on a global scale. On top of that, this is Bitcoin on the exchanges. And we've just hit a 5-year low. Bitcoin is being pulled off exchanges rapidly, put in cold storage wallets, which means a lot of people are holding their own Bitcoin, which is great. And clearly people aren't selling because they're not bringing it to exchanges to sell, like you see here. But people are selling, they're bringing it to exchanges to sell. We haven't seen that here. We're actually seeing that this is at a low. Another thing I want to have a look at is the funding. Normally when prices are really frothy and the market's hot, you see really high funding, which is this orange indicator here. And we've had a complete flush of funding for almost 5 months now, which is exactly what you want to see before the market's ready for a next leg up. But this is another indicator pointing to great things. On top of that, fear. 35. We are in a massive state of fear right now. The markets are in extreme fear, yet somehow the Nasdaq's rallied 18% off the tariff scare of the lows here on the 7th. I think it's the second best on record bounce back from a big dump, which we've seen. The S&P is already up 15%, and what we want to see here is gold. Gold is selling off. Every time we see Bitcoin expand and smaller markets expand, we see gold go down. Gold is a risk on asset, which means people come to that when there's a ton of risk and fear out there in the market. People flow to gold, and what we've seen is a ton of people flock to gold. That was the tariff scare. That's the price of gold. Now, if you have a look at gold, it has been on a tear for almost 2 years now, and during that time we haven't seen any expansion in the market. Again, people are saying, yeah, Bitcoin's up to it's at all-time highs, it's doing great. But again, the market, except for Bitcoin and except for like XRP and a few other coins, most coins haven't broken new all-time highs. Most coins are down 40% or more from their 2021 highs. Meanwhile, gold is on an absolute tear. But what we've seen here is exactly what we want to see. A very explosive move. It's most explosive move in a very long time. This is almost vertical. And what we see here on gold is exactly what we want to see. We want to see a 5-wave move to the upside to finish this final leg off. And that's exactly what we've gotten. So gold's essentially topped in my book. And I know a lot of people are bullish on gold right now, and I'm not really a metals guy, but gold looks as top as it gets to me, and it's created the perfect structure you want to see. It couldn't be any clearer. On top of that, the DXY over the last 10 years has been in this very big range. It's had areas of resistance, to eventually break through and then find support on this level, support on this level, support on this level. And now finally what we're seeing is this actually break down. This here acts as resistance again, leading to a further move down in the DXY, which is exactly what we want to see for money to be flowing out of the dollar into these other assets like Bitcoin. Now, another indicator you want to look for is early movers in the market and signs that this isn't just a Bitcoin-led rally, which is a bull trap, and then it's all going to be over. And you see that here already. You see coins like SUI, which are up 123% since the tariff scare. They've had extremely good rallies, and in my opinion, this is the first leg up for SUI. And it looks great. So this is what you want to see in the market. Now, some things to look out for that might be pretty bearish are the possible Fed meeting. Now, what we have here is 4.25 to 4.5 interest rate. Now, it's predicted 97% chance that interest rates are going to stay the same and make no change, which is not really what you want to see, because the current administration wants interest rates to come down. They believe they have created enough reason for them to come down. The tariffs, for example, which are deflationary, and the dollar dropping. So this could cause problems and be a potential negative catalyst. But I don't think that this is really going to play too much of a deal in the long term, and I think it's probably going to get resolved. So let's jump into the price charts and what I think is going to happen in the short to mid-term for Bitcoin. Firstly, let's have a look at the liquidation heat map here. I always like to map out where price is going to move based on where leverage is, because short-term swings usually take our leverage. And we can see that most of the leverage here is clustered in the $96,000 region, topping out here at about 96.3. So how do I think price is going to play out based on that information? I think it's very likely we see a move up into this 96.3. This is 96.3 here. 96.3 region, maybe even poke a little bit higher in it just to trap some people into going long. And then it's very likely we see a rejection from that level and we see some kind of pullback. Now, this yellow line here is a level that's been a support for a while, and then it acted as a resistance during this breakdown. And now we've smashed through it and we're actually finding support on it again. So this is the first level I look for Bitcoin to hold. However, I don't think it's going to hold here. I do think it'll come back to this price, but I don't think it's going to hold here. I think it's much likely to move down to this level here in the 88s, or potentially a move to 84 to 86. But right now, the reason I have this level marked here is because I think this entire structure feels very similar to this bottom down here, where we had these big scares, the FTX drama feels similar to the tariff scares, and these heights here that we've had as resistance, we've pierced through and we found support on that, which then led to the rally, which I feel like is kind of similar to what's going on here. Zone here obviously being where the market found support. So I think it's likely we fall down to here, but in the short term, so until at least Monday next week, I think this is the way price is going to play out. And if we do break this support, this is where we're looking to buy, and potentially, if it gets broken, 84 to 86 range. So that's my thesis on the crypto market right now and the way I think price is going to react in the short term. And I want to come back to this in a week's time, or even on Monday, and go over everything again just to see how things are playing out. But I think we have enough things indicate that maybe there's potential for all this uncertainty in the world to come to an end, that we've seen Bitcoin getting pulled off exchanges. We've seen no opening in funding. We see the market sentiment being down the drain right now. We also see the NASDAQ rallying well. We see the S&P rallying well. We see gold selling off. We see the DXY selling off and hopefully bouncing into resistance to leg down again. We see coins like SUI making great moves up, already up 123% since the tariff scare. And I think that's exactly what we want to be seeing in these market conditions. I don't think we go ripping and roaring to the moon right now, but I do think in the short term, we have some sideways correcting to do, most likely an ABC down to these levels. But in the short term, I think we'll get to here. But by Monday, you can reassess price based on the way it's acting at these support levels, if it holds this as support, like it did here 1, 2, 3, 4, many times. So I hope you found this useful. Feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you want to see more videos coming soon. And leave a comment if you have any charts you want me to have a look at. I'm thinking of making a video on XRP soon, which I think is performing exactly the way we want to see it perform in this type of market. And we've already seen it do a massive leg up in November and December. And now it's very likely that at the end of this consolidation range, it does its final leg up, potentially to that $10 region. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching.